Welcome back to the deep dive. So, you sent us a stack of sources, and at the top was a children's book, Finley the Traveling Elephant. And you asked us to extract the core logistics methodology from it.
Yeah, which is a pretty unusual request. Usually when we talk about sophisticated frameworks for, resource allocation, you're expecting dry white papers charts.
Seriously. But what we found instead was this surprisingly clean, distance-based model. It's basically a blueprint for how to scale your operations.
And it's all wrapped up in the story of an elephant just trying to get to a reading festival. So our mission today is to pull out Finley's core methodology for figuring out which ride is right and see how those whimsical decisions actually connect to real-world strategy.
It's still kind of wild that this all comes from a picture book, but what gives this whole analysis real weight is the author's background, Marcy Schoaf.
Exactly. This isn't just some theory from a writer. She is a professional boat captain.
Which means she lives and breathes this stuff. Route planning, resource management.
Right. She navigates a 50-foot catamaran down in the Grenada, West Indies. She's charting real courses, reading weather patterns, managing things like fuel and time, finite resources.
So that expertise just gives Finley's journey immediate validity. Her insights aren't theoretical. They're born from, actually commanding a vessel.
She's translating the complex calculus of a sea captain into a simple framework that you can use. Finley's logistics are deeply informed by a captain's critical thinking.
Okay, so let's see how that thinking applies to our elephant, Finley.
Let's do it.
First, we have to unpack his motivation. I mean, Finley's an adorable character. He loves books more than peanuts. He has these big red glasses, and he's always reading about these far-off magical places.
Rainbow Island?
Exactly, and that destination is what drives the whole process. He finds out the Rainbow Reading Festival is this weekend on Rainbow Island.
And the draw is immense. We're told there's a giant library, a rainbow slide, and the ultimate incentive.
Free ice cream on Fridays.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, the goal is totally non-negotiable. He says, I have to go.
And that intense need, that's what creates the critical path. But like any good project manager, Finley starts with the simplest, lowest cost resource he has.
Himself.
Right. He confidently declares, I'll just walk everywhere. And he tries it out, short distances, to the tree, to the fence.
The mailbox.
Yeah, the mailbox. But this immediate self-deployment, it very quickly reveals the first crucial constraint in logistics.
His feet get tired. And they get tired fast.
This is the first big lesson. His tired feet represent resource depletion, and maybe more importantly, zero scalability.
Right. Walking is free, in terms of money, but it just burns through his personal energy and takes a huge amount of time.
So he gets out his notebook and makes his first entry, the absolute baseline rule.
Question 1. Is it close? If yes, you can walk or run.
And he's strict about it. Walking is only for very close places. He realizes walking across the ocean to Rainbow Island is a total non-starter.
And that simple rule establishes the lower threshold of the whole system. As soon as the distance, or the required speed, exceeds your personal effort.
You have to escalate. You need a new mode of transport, more resources. Walking defines the maximum viable distance for the most sustainable, but also the slowest option.
Okay, so with the very close trips defined, he moves up the scale. He shifts to medium short trips.
And this brings in his red bicycle. This is his solution for getting to the town library, which he calls a little farther.
The bike immediately introduces a really fundamental concept, a trade-off.
Time versus capital cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As he puts it in his notes, bike short to medium trips. No gas, just elephant snacks.
The resource input there, the elephant snacks, that's just his own physical energy. It's a slow-burning, renewable resource for him, highly sustainable.
It's the perfect analogy for, say, intermediate internal scaling. You can think of the bike as investing in a small tool or improving a process you already have. You pay in time and effort, but you avoid those high recurring costs of bringing in outside help.
It's the most efficient solution for that middle ground.
For sure. But, the world rarely lets us stick to perfectly efficient plans.
Context always intervenes. And that leads us to the unexpected variable. The pink taxi tuk-tuk.
This is where the environment suddenly introduces urgency and risk. Dark clouds roll in, and then splash, rain.
And the rain threatens to ruin his books, soak his ears. The mission parameters just changed. It's not about efficiency anymore.
No, it's about immediate risk mitigation.
Yeah.
And a taxi, driven by a friendly cow, happens to be right there. It offers a solution. It zooms him home in minutes. It's short, it's fast.
But the cost analysis is just stark. He says the ride cost him almost all my peanut money.
And that's a perfect illustration of what you call critical path analysis. It's the high price you pay for an emergency premium service.
So you have to ask, why spend all the peanuts? Well, because the opportunity cost of waiting, of maybe getting sick or having his mission-critical cargo, his books ruined.
That cost was way higher than the financial cost of the taxi.
Exactly. You pay a massive premium to bypass a sudden, urgent roadblock, and his rule reflects this.
Taxi. Short, quick, but expensive. Use only sometimes. It's a high-burn resource you save for interventions or when a deadline is just catastrophically expensive to miss.
Okay, so now he needs a reliable solution for those consistent medium-length trips. The gap between the sustainable bike and the expensive taxi.
This is the grandma trip. She lives in the next town over.
Too far for the bike, way too expensive for a regular taxi run. This leads him to question 2. Is it medium far?
And this requires reliable intermediate infrastructure, a car.
But the choice isn't random. It's based on fitness for purpose and capacity. He tries a red car, a sports car, a Jeep. They're all fine for just getting around.
But he settles on a small green car, and the reason is key.
He chooses it because it's perfect for Grandma's house and for hauling home all her cookies.
This is where we have to elevate the analysis. The cookies aren't just a snack. They're cargo. They're inventory.
Right. The car is chosen for its capacity, its reliability, and its security over these intermediate distances. It's not just about moving Finley anymore.
It's about moving the deliverables of the mission, the cookies. This car is like a fleet vehicle or a dedicated server. It's reliable, it scales up capacity over the bike, and it bridges that local operation to the start of the truly long haul.
That makes perfect sense. The car is the stable, medium-haul resource, but it still can't cross an ocean. And that brings us to the ultimate challenge.
Rainbow Island. The map confirms the scale jump. It's past towns, past beaches.
Way out into the ocean.
Yeah.
The distance is now categorized as very far away.
And this massive distance requires 2 very specific, high-scale, specialized solutions.
First, he has to overcome that big geographical barrier. To get to the airport, there's water, and that means a boat.
The boat is described as a floating, mooing, and roaring vessel. It's packed with a whole menagerie of large animals. It's less about comfort and more about
specialized vehicle deployment.
Exactly. The boat is built for high-capacity freight and the unique environment of water.
So the logistics lesson is crystal clear. Boats are good for crossing water. It reinforces that you have to adapt your transport to the terrain, not just the distance.
You need a dedicated, specialized solution when you hit a major geographical roadblock.
Precisely. And the boat is really just the connection to the final massive stage of the journey.
The global infrastructure of air travel.
He sees the plane, a bright red one that looks like a flying banana with wings. This is the ultimate maximal scale solution. And Parisa, the pilot, she delivers the final rule.
She confirms the basic economics of global transport. Planes go very far, very fast. This is the highest level of resource expenditure you can have, and it's only justified by the need to cover truly vast distances.
And the massive benefit of time compression.
Yeah, and the visual from the air just cements the lesson. The roads he was just on shrink to noodles. The cars, even his reliable little green car, they become crumbs.
It forces you to realize that the scale of this trip makes all his previous modes of transport seem almost insignificant. The resource required fundamentally changes from, personal snacks to jet fuel.
And that's segmentation. From internal effort all the way up to highly specialized global infrastructure. That is the genius of this framework. Close, medium, and very, very far. Every project needs that kind of assessment.
So after the flight, he lands, he sees the palm trees, the rainbow. Rainbow Island was worth it.
The vision is validated.
Yeah.
And the core lesson is reinforced by his success. He made it because he asked those 2 foundational questions every single time.
How far is it?
And crucially, what ride fits best, matching the resource to the scale.
So let's synthesize Finley's final framework, because this is the guide you can really apply to almost any resource planning scenario.
Okay, think of this as your scale matrix for operations.
First, walk, when it's very close. The analogy here is personal effort, maybe a quick email, check-in.
Then bike, when it's a bit farther. That's your medium efficiency, low-cost option, like sustainable internal project management. It takes time and energy, but not a lot of cash.
Then taxi, when you need a short, fast ride and you have that extra peanut money.
That's your high-cost, fast intervention. Hiring a temporary consultant, deploying an expensive fix to get a critical project back on track.
Next up, the car. When it's a medium trick, this is reliable, autonomous capacity. Think dedicated team resources, a robust internal platform, something that hauls your essential deliverables.
Then the boat, when there's lots of water. This is specialized infrastructure for unique terrain. Deploying a custom solution for, say, a specific regulatory environment or overcoming a big bureaucratic barrier.
And finally, the plane, when it's very, very far away.
That's global scalability, time compression. Launching a worldwide product, using large-scale cloud infrastructure, leveraging global supply chains.
And Finley wraps up the whole analysis process so perfectly in his final reflection. He highlights the hierarchy.
He says, books show me places first. My brain chooses the best ride. Then my feet, wheels, or wings do the rest.
Vision, analysis, execution. That's the entire project lifecycle right there.
It's a perfect reminder that the decision shouldn't be the default. It has to be analyzed every time based on the required scale.
And to prove the system works, on the way home, he runs a perfect multimodal plan in reverse. Plane, boat, green car, bike, and then
Walking the last few steps to his door.
he used every single resource optimally, all within one consolidated journey.
An exhausting but very successful day of operational excellence. He wisely chooses to stay home and read the next day. The system works, but you also need resource maintenance.
But the source leaves us with one final, wonderfully thought-provoking idea. Finley giggles to himself and thinks that the only thing he'd need a rocket for is if the moon starts a library.
And that is the ultimate provocative thought for you, the listener. Finley's whole framework is designed to optimize resources based on existing infrastructure and defined scales. Walk, bike, plane, these are known solutions for known distances.
But a library on the moon, that is an objective that requires a solution that is completely outside the operating manual.
It represents true disruptive innovation. If your objective is that extraordinary, that unconventional, if you're going to the moon library, you need a resource that doesn't exist in your current toolbox.
So how do you determine the rocket in your own life or in your business?
It's when the scale of your goal fundamentally breaks every existing rule you have. It requires you to invent a new mode of transport. Or maybe build entirely new infrastructure, not just choose the next step up the ladder.
So whether you're planning a big project, allocating a budget, or just trying to prioritize your tasks for the week, take a page from Finley. Ask yourself, how far is the goal?
What resource fits best?
And if the answer turns out to be the moon library, don't be afraid to start building your own rocket. Analyze the distance, determine the scale, and the solution will follow.
That's our deep dive into the sophisticated logistics of Finley the Traveling Elephant.
We hope this framework helps you choose your best ride today. Until next time.